Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys. I hope that all of you are having a great day. Now when it comes to choosing a fragrance, I know that for most people out there, there are a few main factors. One of them of course is how much they enjoy the scent of that fragrance, but also one of the other main features that people are looking for when choosing a fragrance is its performance. And I make no difference, I like my scents to be good performers. So in this video today I prepared a list of 11 cheap fragrances that have strong performance. The first fragrance that I'm going to show you in this video comes from the house of Swiss Arabian, and it's called Kenzie. Now this thing is done in a very similar style to something like Herba Pura and Kirke. You get that fruity, musky scent profile that will get you in sort of an like a shower jelly type of a smell, type of vibe. It's a bit more fruity, I think, compared to the original scent. It's quite musky on the dry down. There's some ouds, and all in all, this is a very interesting take on that DNA. It's a little bit overplayed at that point in time, but this thing at least is very cheap, so you're not risking a big amount of money when going with Kenzie. It's perfectly unisex. For some people might lean a little bit to the feminine side. To my nose, this is a perfectly unisex scent, great for warm weather, and performance here is very decent. I get about 8 hours, even over 8 hours of performance on my skin. And as I said, the best thing out of all is the fact that this thing usually is very cheap, and here in Europe costs around about 20 euros, maybe sometimes even less than that. The first fragrance in this video, Kenzie from Swiss Arabian. If you enjoy my videos but for some reason you're not yet a subscriber to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. It motivates me to keep creating more useful content for you guys. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so don't miss any of my future videos. Okay, the second fragrance in this video comes from the house of Al Wataniya, and it's called Atar Al Weasel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right, but this thing is a fantastic clone of Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Mauve. In my opinion, my honest opinion, this is the best clone when it comes to how close scent-wise it is to the original scent on the markets right now. You get that fantastic combination of sweet pear vanilla with some mint. The original DNA is very popular, and as I said, to my nose, this is the best clone on the markets. Performance here is pretty strong, pretty much a beast mode performing fragrance, a great youthful scent that, again, like with the first fragrance that I showed you from Kenzie, this thing also is very cheap, and in Europe costs around about the 20 euro mark. Very high quality of the scent, nice presentation, all in all a fantastic clone of Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Mauve. The second fragrance in this video, the Atar Al Weasel from Al Wataniya. The third scent in this video that I'm going to show you comes from the house of Armaf, and it's called Armaf Hunter Killer. One of the relatively newer releases from the house of Armaf, and one of their best releases from last year. This is a fantastic take on the DNA of Mancera's red tobacco. You get that sweet, spicy tobacco scent, but here it's done in a slightly different way. This feels a little bit more fruity, a little bit more sweety, a little bit less spicy compared to the original scent. You can call this like a designer take on that DNA, or maybe a little bit more of a wearable, take on that DNA. Still though, despite the fact that this is a little bit softer and a little bit, less of a performer compared to the original scent, still this thing performs really nicely, has very high quality, and all in all, this has been one of the best releases from Armaf for last year, at least in my honest opinion. The fourth one comes from Paris Corner and their Emir line of fragrances, and it's called Frenetic Delicieuse, and this thing is a clone of Fève Delicieuse by the Dior's private line of fragrances. It's a very sweet fragrance. You really need to like sweet fragrances in order to enjoy this one. But clone wise, this is a very nice clone of Fève Delicieuse. You get that very fruity, there's a nice sour cherry note in this fragrance that's mixed with a lot of sweet notes like amber, vanilla, tonka bean, praline, all in all, as I said, a very sweet fragrance, great for cold weather, perfectly unisex, and has great performance. Now, one thing that I don't like about this fragrance is the bottle size. This thing is 80 milliliters in bottle size, but one thing I like about the bottle is the fact that it has a magnetic cap. The fifth one comes from the house of Art Al Khaleej, and it's called Sheikh Zayed limited edition. This is a clone of Dior Homme Intense, and it's a very interesting take on that DNA. You still get that irisy, musky, you know, cacao-y, woody scent, but here it's done in a slightly fresher way that again makes an interesting twist on Dior Homme Intense's you know, scent. Absolutely fantastic fragrance. I really like Dior Homme Intense, one of my all-time favorite scents, and I'm always looking for a good clone of that you know, that scent, that fragrance, that DNA. And Sheikh Zayed limited edition has proven to be a fantastic take on that DNA. It feels very light in the air, quite fresh in the opening. When you firstly spray this one, you probably end up thinking that this won't be a good performer, but the reality is that for some reason this really hangs onto my skin very well, and in fact it can rival the original scent when it comes to performance. Also price wise, if you can find this, you can probably end up finding it for a very good price. I paid roughly about 20 something euros, and again, the only thing that I don't like about this fragrance is the bottle size, which is 80 milliliters, but all in all, this thing is a fantastic performance. The fifth fragrance in this video, Sheikh Zayed limited edition from Art Al Khaleej. The next three fragrances will be from the house of Latafa, and the first one is called LFA Masa, one of the newer releases in the Latafa Pride line of fragrances, and this thing is a clone of Ganymede, and a very well done clone of Ganymede, very high quality. It has a slight twist compared to the original scent. Latafa here have added a mango note in the opening of this fragrance, making it a little bit more fruity, slightly more sweet, especially in the opening. Even to my nose smells a little bit bubblegummy in the opening. But other than that, you got the, you know, that the usual players from Ganymede. You know, you got the saffron, you got the suede, the violet. You know, that combination of notes, you know, are giving this fragrance, like with the original, this kind of a mineral vibe, a metallic vibe. It's not as sharp, it's not as strong as the original scent, but still, this thing is a very decent performer. Comes very nicely packaged to get a very interesting and unique looking bottle, and all in all, this is probably the highest quality clone of Ganymede that I've tried. The seventh fragrance is one of the first Latafas that I ever got into my collection, and it's called Amir Al Oud. And up until just recently, this was my most favorite Latafa scent. An absolutely fantastic cold weather scent, very cozy, done very similarly to something like By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela. You get that oudi fragrance that has a tiny bit of oud in it, very smoky and at the same time very sweet. You got this sort of a caramelly vibe out of it, like a burnt sugar note. There's vanilla. All in all, a very cozy fragrance that has a fantastic performance. I really like this one. Really like to wear this one, you know, in winter time. The previous fragrance that I showed you used to be my most favorite Latafa up until about a month ago, and now I'm going to show you my current most favorite Latafa fragrance. It's again from their Pride line, you know, one of the new releases from their Pride line, and it's called Vintage Radio, and this thing is a very nicely done clone of Initial's Paragon. I absolutely love this fragrance, especially in the opening. You get a super nice, super sweet and juicy plum note in the opening of this fragrance. You know, you got some freshness in the opening, some spices. On the dry down, you get some ouds. All in all, a very nicely done clone of Paragon. And perfectly unisex fragrance that has very strong performance, very nice projection, comes packaged very nicely. The bottle looks really unique and interesting in my opinion, and looks really nicely on my shelf, you know, along with all the other fragrances in my collection. And I was able to get this for a very decent price, you know, around about the 30 something euro mark, which given the quality that you get of the scent, the performance, the closeness to the original scent, and you know, the whole packaging and experience that you get out of it, I think it's a fantastic deal. The next two fragrances will be from the house of Maison Alhambra. The first one is another clone of a Dior's private line of fragrances. In this case, it's a clone of Tabaccular by Dior, and this thing is called Tabac. A very strong fragrance, tobacco based fragrance that's mixed with some sweetness, some honey sweetness. You got some additional tonka bean, vanilla, you got some fruits in the opening. A very nicely done fragrance that to my nose is not super close to the original scent. It lacks some of the quality, of course, but it also lacks some of that fruity sweetness that you get with the original scent, but the dry down is pretty similar. This feels a little bit rougher, but not in a bad way, more like this is a more masculine version of you know, Tabaccular. It has a very strong tobacco note and it's a very strong fragrance. So if you like tobacco based fragrances, you know, that have a strong tobacco note in them, definitely check out the Tabac from Maison Alhambra. The second Maison Alhambra fragrance in this video will be Gan L Ombre. Currently, along with Crafted Oud, those two are, this and that other fragrance, are my two most favorite Maison Alhambra fragrances. This thing, if you cannot tell already by looking at the bottle design, this thing is a very nice clone of Louis Vuitton's Ombre Nomade. Done very nicely, you know, you got that mix of oud, leather, rose, incense, a touch of raspberry, amber sweetness. Again, as I said, very nicely done. You get a magnetic cap, you get a nice presentation that's very similar to what you get with the original scent. Very strong performer, very dressed up type of scent, but I really love that you know, that scent profile. It has a very strong oriental vibe to it, and again, it has a very nice performance, and usually it's quite cheap, costs around about the 30-35 euro mark here in Europe. The last fragrance for this video will be from the house of Zaya, and it's called Araf Blend. And this thing is a fantastic clone of Kilian's Angel Share. Now, in the opening, it's slightly different. It lacks a bit of that strong boozy note that you get with, you know, that cognac note that you get with Angel Share. This still has a boozy note, but it's not as strong. But once, you know, a few minutes pass, this thing becomes super close to Angel Share, and quality-wise, this has a fantastic quality. It comes very nicely packaged. You get a super luxurious presentation. The bottle feels very high quality. Looks stunningly good in my opinion. The juice has a very nice ambery color. Performance here is pretty much beast mode. Another perfectly unisex scent. You know, as with Angel Share, you got a boozy vibe, a boozy note. You got a lot of sweet notes, praline, vanilla, tonka bean, and a lot of other sweet notes. Again, you really need to like sweet fragrances in order to enjoy this scent, but in my opinion, this thing is a fantastically well done and a fantastically well blended. A great release from Zaya and Afnan, which are the parent company of Zaya. Guys, in today's video I showed you 11 fragrances from my collection that all of them are strong performance, and in fact some of them are beast mode performing fragrances. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.